Good morning. Today is May 9th, 2024. Happy birthday to my nephew, DJ. All is good in the hood. How old is DJ today? Wow. They 25. He might be like 27, 28. I met DJ when he was like 6. These kids grow faster than weeds. And one of the things that we're trying to do is play video games together. Because that's what we like to do, So his uncle, which is my brother-in-law, Wabi, wants us to play basically a Dungeons and Dragons game, Final Fantasy 11, together. And that's hilarious, because I'm down. Right? Me, him, Wabi, Darius, and my son. And we could find 2 more people. That's a 6-man party. We could take over the whole game, and they know that. That's why they hype about doing it. And I gotta rebuild these computers and all this other stuff, and and there's other games that I want to play. Like I like playing games. It's a part of relaxing and not getting all stressed out about what's going on in quote unquote real life. And I say it like that to be funny because politics is a game. It truly is. And when I put it that way, you get either the left or the right, quote unquote, right? Acting like it ain't a game, like it's that serious because they're extremists in the mind. And so what they do is they cause chaos. They cause chaos, and it's unfair. It's unfair to the children for them to be causing chaos because they not happy in life, And one of the reasons why they're not happy. I mean, it's serious. I mean, they put it right in front of us. Before I get into that, let me start off with my normal prayer, right? Because God comes first. God is bigger than hip hop. We should be able to say that. There's a group called Dead Prez that came out with a song called Hip Hop, and their chorus went, "It's bigger than hip hop," and the fact that we can't fill in the blank of what it is, right? That's bigger than hip hop is the problem. God is bigger than hip hop. God is the author of hip hop. Hip hop is a consciousness. It's collective. It's a collective consciousness, right? Alliteratively, right? Me and my son, when he was in 4th grade, we came up with the concept that hip hop is an American culture created by the children of the 1960 civil rights movement. Right there and then, that's when he came to me saying we learned about Ruby Bridges in school, and he was like the only black kid in his class. So it's like you and Ruby Bridges have something in common, Now that they've been under Trump, they've been adding more kids to and even under Obama, right? They've been adding more kids to the classes, right? Migrating them in there, because that's what they did to me in high school. I was supposed to go to either King, They closed it down. Is I was supposed to go to McDevitt. It's a Catholic high school. Um, Even before they closed down, McDevitt used to call me, and they used to call me and like I was a part of their like I went there, and I never went to that school. I never went there. I was also thinking about going to Colonel Doherty. I couldn't get into Roman, so I tried to get into Central. Couldn't go to Central, so I went to Northeast. My mom didn't want me to go to ENS, engineering and science. So, but what am I rapping about? Oh yeah. Transgenderism shouldn't be taken seriously. Period. But we live in a society where the algorithm hears me say that and classifies it as hate speech. And I can't, grow my channel because I'm one of those people, I'm the enemy for bringing up that it's actually a psychological, it's not an ideology, but it's what most, what the psychologist or that community of psychiatrists or whatever, right? Coming together collectively and saying, hey, this is a mental health issue, but we can't say that it's a mental health issue. So we'll accept them as it being something that's not curable, but curable. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like it's like they washing their hands clean of what's the diagnosis and what do we do to fix if it's a problem. Like it clearly has to be a problem because most religions see it as a philosophical problem, right? It goes against their philosophical ideology, which is their religious beliefs, right? Religious beliefs was the core of the Bible, right? It's the core of political ideology. That's why I say I made it, right? Did my first mission. So yeah, but like I'm saying is it's a part of it shouldn't be taken seriously. Like it's supposed to be a part of the joke. Right? It's supposed to be a part of, it's like, don't make fun of them. Okay, but it's not supposed to be taken it's not supposed to be a serious conversation between a father and his 12-year-old son. Right? No, son, if you feel like you're feeling like a woman, then no, that's not supposed to be a serious conversation between a father and daughter. Right? Yes, period punctuation, alliteratively, right, is supposed to be a serious conversation between a father and daughter. Most fathers don't want to talk about it, but most fathers is also like, okay, now that that's happened, okay, I don't need no babies, right? Until you are mature enough, until you're 20 or whatever, the father determines that. Until you marry, the father determines that, right? And no, you shouldn't be aborting babies, right? And we live in a society where y'all telling that the father doesn't have a say. I mean, that's the most ignorant. I had to take a sip of my juice. But I'm keeping it nice and calm, right? There's no anger issues with me. But we living in a society where they saying I'm the one with the anger issues because I play a video game that's based upon driving a car. That's all I'm doing is driving a car. All right. The same government's going, see, it's him playing the game like this with the children, and is causing the mental health issues of the children to be extra violent. Hypocrites, right? I mean, you don't get more hypocritical than that. Not transgenderism isn't the issue. It's a father playing a video game with his son. All right. Are y'all starting to understand that? You know? So, two ex-cons get out of jail and they trying to figure it out, right? That's the story of Grand Theft Auto 3. I think the main character protagonist is Italian. I'm not sure. I don't think they really gave him a race or ethnicity. You see the black guy is also a part of it, you know, so tokenism, I guess, right? Or whatever. All these things that they put on us when hip hop has always been a cultural religion. Not just keeping it 100. A religious culture. It's more than music. It's an intelligent movement. So, shout out to Jody for bringing up the Shaolin versus Wu-Tang. That was dope. Darius' birthday today. That's cool too. You know, we used to have birthday parties back in the day, but I'm on a dolo now. The boy will be here later on today, so I'll be back later on to chuck and jive with him. And I did want to get a little serious with y'all, because I mean, people are out here making content that really make statements about where we are politically. It's just sad to me that when you start talking about a political ideologies, it's you mentioned transgenderism, and it's immediately he's the enemy when we're talking about an ideology that shouldn't be taken seriously. I'm starting to get that. Setting it up for this. And, you know, yeah, I had the beat rocking it last night with this same music or whatever, right? So I'm saying, you know, just playing around with this program a little bit and seeing how I can get it to fit right and things of that nature. Because I know there's a way for me to eventually, like, I should have some kind of functions on it where I can actually just toggle between the different screens, like I'm, you know, putting together a real, you know, show for y'all. So bear with me for a second. And I mean, and that was the gist of it, but I'm still talking about The Godfather, pretty much. That's what I'm talking about. I'm putting it at the top, greatest movie of all time. And I'm doing that purposely because that's what we seem to be having war issues about. Um, the latest being the Kendrick Lamar and Drake battle. So it's everybody's, they want my opinion on it. And it's like, I really like, just like the God, like I can't with the Godfather with you, right? I say the Godfather's the greatest movie of all time. And most of you say I didn't see it, or you might have only seen it one time, or, you don't like gangster movies, right? So right then and there, we can't have a discussion. It's really, you have no, so I really have no opinion on Drake because I don't listen to his music, right? I listen to Kendrick. I think, um, I think To Pimp a Butterfly is a masterpiece, but I also think Section 80 is a masterpiece. I actually like Section 80 better than To Pimp a Butterfly. I understood why the Pimp the Butterfly became what it is, because of the other artists involved with it. Shout out to Bilal, right? I know that they heavily influenced his music for that album to become as dope as it is. His first album is raw hip hop. I don't think that was his first album. It might have been his second album, but Section 80 it's just straight raw hip hop, and that's why I like that one a little bit more than To Pimp a Butterfly. Now, Mad Kid City, yes, that's the other great classic. Everybody, great artists have trilogies. So those three albums is his trilogy, right? That's it. He done. That's, to me, after you do your trilogy, all right, cool. It's over, right? You don't have anything else to prove, even though you had an album before. Same with the Roots. Roots had an album called Organic. It was their test album. It's really, it's garbage. Yeah, it ain't that good. But then their first two albums, I can't think of the title names right now because I do have a slight headache. But people that follow the Roots know what I'm talking about. It's like, what's their top three albums? What is their trilogy? And they have, like 10 albums. They have a lot of albums. And the one that I like the least is actually the one with John Legend. I went to go listen to it again since John Legend, when it come out of his mouth, talking about wokeness, right? And that's the name of the album, Wake Up. And it's there it is. That's what makes him a hypocrite. I'm just keeping it 100. And therein is the battle that we're seeing between Kendrick and Drake. Now, when I heard Royce White jump in on it, Royce White has the opinion of the lighter skinned people, right? So he's leaning more towards Drake, right? Because Drake did he sold more records than Michael Jackson, right? He calls himself the Keith Sweat of hip hop, right? And that's what makes him whack to me. But I'm not really, I don't listen to Drake. And it's funny because Mad Kid City is the album that the one song that I don't like on that album is the collaboration with Drake. I don't like that song. He samples what's her name? Janet Jackson. And it's just like a filler song. It's like it's the love song of the album, and it's whack to me. It's like, I guess, right? I skip over it every time. So that's one of the songs that made me look at that album like this. It's an incomplete album. I get what he's trying to do, right? He was trying to recreate Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and my trilogy of that gangster movies is actually a video game called Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That was Grand Theft Auto 3 that I was playing for you. Good game. Next one takes place in Miami, but it didn't really but you see there's traces of hip hop in those first two games. Even the radio stations have a hip hop station on it, right? But it wasn't until that third game where it really transformed into wow, this is hip hop right here, and it was actually based upon those two movies, Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society. So that actually kind of became the third movie in the trilogy, just like The Godfather 1 and 2, greatest movies, right, of all time. You flip a coin, which one you think is better, right? But then the third one became all about he did it later on, and it really wasn't the vision of what The Godfather is. So it became more about Michael Corleone, what I mean, the son becoming greater than the father type of thing, and that's why it was whack. That's why it wasn't. It's not really considered, up there when you talk about great movies, right? So, let me cut that off and I start rapping and forget where I was going with this, right? But yeah, that's what I'm talking about when it comes to The Godfather. It's the greatest movie of all time, but if you didn't see it, then you can't comment on it. Same with Drake. Like I can't comment on Drake. I never listened to a Drake album. Like I studied Kendrick's albums, right? How much a dollar really costs? The question is detrimental, paralyzing my thoughts, parasites in my gut, my feeling for y'all. Like I studied the lyrics, right? The lyricisms of it. And what he's actually trying to say, even in that one little simple song right there, like he finding himself like, hey, I'm big like Drake. I'm driving a big fancy car. I'm stepping out feeling tall as Mutombo. And here's a guy asking me for $1, and I think he's a crackhead. But now I'm self-reflecting like, yo, is he the Messiah? Because that's who he said he was. How is the Messiah, if God is real and it's possible for him to walk on the earth, how will he appear to you? As Drake or as the bum, at the gas station? And it's like, you called him a bum. You're part of the problem, right? Because that's what y'all see them as. And y'all drive right on by like they need to get a job, right? Not knowing the whole story of them having to fight the system in order to have a job, right? A lot of people out here fighting the system, and the system is going, you can't have a job, you can't have a business, you can't. That's what the system is doing, right? And flooding in all these aliens, right? Illegal aliens, right? You can't even say illegal aliens, right? Immigrants, right? You can't say illegal immigrants, right? And flooding all of them taking all the jobs. There's a lot of people out here that's struggling because we don't have steady income, steady jobs, steady businesses, right? You can't create a business unless you work for the government. And the government is what? Hiring people to cause more chaos. And I'm going to prove it to you today on the Tautological Epistemology Show. See, feminists are using. Let me switch to this right here. I ain't even see this yet. I was going to show y'all something else, but here comes Professor Black Truth, right? Spitting that truth, right? 4 hours ago. Now this is his take on it. Now I watched. Let me see where he at. Let's see here, because I want to set it up as like a fair use thing. I usually just say, hey, go there and watch it yourself. Not to be stealing from Professor Black Truth, but he's part of what I'm. Come on, this thing kills me with this. It kills me sometimes with the controls. Like it doesn't do what I want it to do. So, bear with me because it's corny controls. One of the things that Apple has to work on. I get it. Professor Black Truth. So go to @Prof Black Truth. He has 138,000 subscribers. That's as much as he's going to grow. Like you can grow more than that, you know. Where there's other guys like FD Signifier, right? He's up there like a half a million, but he's a simp. You know what I mean? Professor Black Truth's not a simp. He's an old head. I think he's a baby boomer. So he got me by a couple years. I'm Generation X, and I relate to a lot that he says. I see where Generation YZA, the millennials, the AKA the millennials, Generation Giza, right? Where they're y'all ready to take over, but it's like, yo, y'all gotta respect the elders first, because he's want to tell you the truth on here, and it's still we don't have enough cash. It's cash isn't the problem. Cash was everything around me, cream, but that's mammon. Like we're not going to get forward with thinking you can use mammon to control people. Yes, you can pay people a fair share of mammon to help build something, but there's more to leadership than paying people mammon, right? Just like it's more to leadership than expecting people to pay. Like I don't expect any payment for this, right? But hit the like button, share, subscribe. That's more than enough payment to help me spread this creative content of what hip hop truly is. It's more than music. It's a culture. It's a cultural religion. All right? I keep stressing that. The only thing bigger than hip hop is God. The only thing bigger than hip hop. So let me. I kind of did this one on the listening, so I'll pause the music. Me back out a little bit. So fair use according to whatever yada yada. Y'all can copyright claim this all y'all want anyway. I don't really care, because I just want the knowledge out there. I didn't watch this beforehand, so I don't know exactly what he's going to say, but I trust Professor Black Truth more so than I trust, say, Umar Johnson, Mark Lamont Hill. The list goes on, and we'll get more into them and why I don't trust them with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of teaching my children. Right? They call themselves teachers, but they're horrible. They're horrible people because they're willing to say that transgenderism is serious, right? Or Umar Johnson saying, saying hate biracial couples. I'm saying that biracial couples as being, facetious in who their mother and father are. So as soon as we say that biracial people are black, you're either being disrespectful to the father or the mother, depending on if they are white. But we'll get more into that later on too. And I'm not going to try to be on here too long, but I do have a little time right now, so let me share this.
Fellow soldiers, I'm the professor.
This is the professor.
This is the moment of truth.
This is the moment of truth.
I heard that a couple of rappers have been beefing with each other lately. Well, when are rappers not beefing with each other? But most recently, the guys making the headlines are Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I guess they're having a war of words over something. But there's a lot of other people who decide to weigh in on it, not because they have anything intelligent to say, but because they're trying to see if they can milk it for clicks. And this brings us to the feminists of all people who are trying to make this into a black men are all abusing black women thing. Now, one of these bad actors in particular wrote some sort of article for Yahoo, and this woman apparently is from Canada, just like Drake is, which to me makes this some person I never heard of trying to clout chase. She says that Drake disrespected Megan. I can only assume she's meaning Megan Thee Stallion, and that this alienated black women from Drake, and this was the beginning of his fall from whatever. Now, again, I don't know much about Drake or his sales figures, but considering the fact that this woman's sitting here talking about him, getting all ventilated about it and trying to milk Drake for clicks, apparently Drake can't be doing too bad. She says that black women are the ultimate tastemakers, and that's fine for her to be saying that, but she's doing this as a way to basically push her own personal agenda, which has nothing to do with black women's interests. This woman sounds and no doubt smells like one of the Shea Butter Twitter crowd. She herself admits that she's, quote, chronically online, and X is where she, quote, tries to promote herself as an artist. Well, it's not hard to see that this is her latest attempt to promote herself. But to try to defend Megan Thee Stallion, that takes nerve. Not brains, but certainly nerve. Pro tip to these online feminists, if you're going to try to make somebody out to be a misogynist, then you need to find a better victim than the woman who made WAP. Megan Thee Stallion has made a career, such as it is, out of tasteless sexual vulgarity and promoting a gutter mentality. I tried listening to her music once, and I couldn't even make it past the first few verses. All she talked about was her private parts and how much she loves sex. She went out of her way to be needlessly as vulgar as possible. One of the great lies that white supremacy invented about black people is the myth of the hypersexual black woman, the black woman who just can't keep her drawers on. This lie, like so much of anti-black racism, had its genesis on the plantations. White slave owners who were degenerates in every sense of the term.
Y'all get it? Y'all understand what he's talking about? Right? So now it seems like he's dissing hip hop, but he's calling out the political ideology, the fake rap music that they use to promote P. Diddy. Right? Same concept. It's not about the lyrical content of what Kendrick brings to the table, brought to the table, right? So I guess this lady is attacking Drake. I don't attack Drake. I just don't listen to him. That's, I know what he's about. He's pop. He's about being as popular as possible so he can make cash, Kendrick, same thing. He's trying to be as popular as possible, but there's a difference between, like me and my son listened to a children's story yesterday by Slick Rick. That's one of the first great storytelling gangster songs, right? It's about a kid that, about a kid been misguiding another kid into robbing and stealing from older people, right? And then he went to go rob instead. It was an undercover cop, I guess, and it's and the video was real cute, right? Because he made it into a Keystone Cop throwback, of funny cops chasing after him, by accidentally getting the bag from him creating dope hip hop, telling a good story, right? And how, they're going to still come after you because they want you to give them the cash, just give it away. And it's like, yeah, I do want y'all to give it away. I need, hit my cash app. Let me 500 if it's Drake, right? Because he got it. He more than enough got it so that I can build a school. We need more hip hop temples, is what we call it. So I need some economic help in order to build these things. But when you're dealing with the quote unquote liberal that's saying that they're going to help you, like Malcolm X was trying to say back in the 60s, they're really not trying to help you because they don't want you to be above them. So they pay certain people to, right? So it looks like that's what Professor Black Truth is doing, but that's not what he's doing. He's telling you the truth about Megan Thee Stallion. I'd rather talk about Rhapsody, right? Rhapsody has a new album coming out. I'm gonna check it out soon. Shay Nior had a new album, very good, And my friend hit me the other day about this beef, and it's like, I really don't listen to Drake. I don't know who he is. Like, I'm joking with them, right? I know who he is. but I don't listen to. I generally don't listen to them because I don't listen to the regular radio stations. Instead, I'm trying to get me some turntables so that I can convert this into my radio station. And then that way, you know what I mean? I can make some cash and put that cash back into my community. But they don't want us to see it that way. They want us to contribute to their community. And in the meantime, they're not helping us because a lot of these political policies, like the promotion of Megan Thee Stallion, is the LGBTQIA plus Black Lives Matter that they're using against us. Right? So feminists are using rap beef to attack Black men. Probably I'm sure it's real good. But it is his, book report on, because that's all these things that these videos really are book reports. It's his book report on what's really going on with this, and that's his perspective. And Royce White did it his perspective. In a way, I guess he started off with he's on Drake's side, you know what I mean? Because Drake is making the cash, Drake is boom, but he's showing you how, the feminists are trying to latch on to him and, do the same thing to him that they did to Diddy. All right. But it's not them that did it to Diddy, because Diddy clearly can't help the Democratic Party anymore, because P. Diddy was at the forefront with the vote or die. This is the game they play. So I can share the rest of it. Go check it out yourself. He needs more subscribers. Hit the like button. Real cool to do. Got me by a couple years, but good dude. Ain't no hate going on. He's a part of what's called the Black media. I'm looking at Royce White's right now. Royce White's not a part of the Black media, but Royce White is down with Ice Cube. Ice Cube isn't down with the Black media, but Ice Cube was stepped up and said, hey, what are you going to do specifically for Black people? So in that way, he became a hero and somebody willing to ask that question. All right. And we know the results of that. Biden said, vote for me, and do exactly what he did. And it caused the complete destruction of the Black family. Right. And at least Trump said, hey, I'll invest $500 billion. And, a lot of ADOS, and the Foundation of Black America. Those are the two main groups when it comes to seeking reparations. Was like, that's not enough, So, of course, they're not trying to put a dollar amount on it, because they surely already sent enough to Ukraine, right? Where we at here? Boom, 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 boom. Where my man at? That's why I can't find him. So I'm trying to find Detroit. Oh, here he go. All right. So
present.
Let me get this together, and I'm just sharing these things. I'm sharing the little clips of them, because I know you're not going to do it on your own. I know a lot of people already tuned me out because, you're blaming yourselves for Joe Biden, right? And it's right. I should blame myself for Barack Obama, right? hip hop should blame itself for Barack Obama because we allowed P. Diddy to come up with that voter die nonsense. And all he did was what he did, which is what Biden is doing now in the promotion of women being the managers and the leaders, giving them more power when it comes to employment of the black family. And they're doing what they did under Obama. They're oppressing the black men. They're helping the black women, oppressing the black men. White men are doing this, or are trying to do the same thing, but this time they're actually getting caught up and getting fired, which is kind of funny, right? So now, who are white men blaming? They blaming themselves, which they shouldn't do because they didn't vote for him. They didn't vote for Biden. So they, in a way, they kind of blaming black women, I guess, right? Who shouldn't be blaming themselves. It should be, like, y'all really have to look in the mirror at what has transpired these past 4 years. And yeah, I see some of y'all calling each other out on that. In a lot of cases, it's too late now because the family is broken up. So now that y'all cause the destruction of the black family with the feminist ideologies, feminism being a political ideology, that is, I'm separating that between that and Catholicism. Catholicism is supposed to be a religious ideology. The difference or the problem with differentiating between religious and political ideologies is that the 10 Commandments supersedes the Constitution. It came first. It's supposed to be first. Yeah, Matt tries to flip it the other way around, that the 42 laws of Matt was before the 10 Commandments. Therefore, we need to go back to the 42 laws of Matt, and the debate is still the same of we need to just follow the 10 Commandments then, right? Like, we still, like, you're taking 10 of the 42 and y'all not following the 10, right? You're feeding into adultery. A lot of them feed into that because it's woman first or goddess first, then God. Now, the proper order is God, goddess, God. That's the order. Does that mean that it's 3 different gods? No, that's not polytheism. That's the transformation. It's not transgenderism. That's something completely different. That's just the physical. They trying to say it's the mental while excluding the spiritual. Of whose law is it? Who's the leader? Whose word? God's word is word, right? So if God say, don't eat that apple over there, you don't eat that apple over there. But the goddess wants to be in charge because I can argue with the devil about not eating it, and I can eat it if I want to, and right? And then find themselves cursed. All because they stop honoring God, the Lord. They're mad at me for telling the truth. I'm just saying, stop blaming yourself. Once y'all get that, then we can share the truth with y'all and y'all not get mad at us.
Say goodbye to old costly cable TV once and for all. This revolutionary invention gives you access to...
All right, you.
This is Detroit HP.
HP TV coming to you out of Detroit.
Oh, come on.
with the divisiveness in our own country, with inflation, with everything that we're dealing with as American citizens, why is he pushing these students so far left in the face? All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit with an interesting video. And I thought about making this reaction video the first time that Volothmp Hill went to the college campus the other day, and I think it was New Jersey. Now, if you've been following my channel, I showed you how they passed the law in the Congress, the HR bill dealing with anti-Semitism, and then how it went against the First Amendment, restricting the First Amendment. Then I showed you yesterday how they passed another law with FISA undermining the Fourth Amendment. Now, they've been talking about all the student protests that's going on around the country. And they've been talking about how the students are being manipulated by outside forces and being used and, to create civil unrest. But people, I know you're not going to like this, but Volothmp Hill is acting as an agent. These young students, most of them are under 25. Frontal lobe brain is not even developed. He is out there agitating them in the conflict that's going on in the Middle East. Now, these students, they are young American students, a lot of them, but a lot of them are also foreign students who may not even agree with what's going on in America as a democracy. But Volothmp Hill, he used to be mainstream media, but mainstream media got rid of him. In the face of all these laws and censorship and being canceled, the things he are saying shows you that he is deliberately agitating these students. He's deliberately misleading these students. And you may wonder why I would say this. Let me show you what he's saying on these campuses. This is for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary educational purposes and the First Amendment. Listen what Volothmp Hill is saying to these college students.
I've been waiting to come out here because I keep hearing all around the world and definitely around this country that the students are taking over. They said we can't walk through campus, we can't get what we want done. Nothing is happening because these students are camped up, they're posted up, they keep shouting, they keep marching. And you know what I said? I said, God damn it, good. We have tried as poor people, we have tried as black people, we have tried as queer people, we have tried as trans people, we have tried as undocumented people to get our rights acknowledged, to get our freedom acknowledged by being polite, by walking in, by sitting in, by whispering in, by writing strongly worded letters. And you know what? None of it works. The only way you get what you want is to shut it down. If we don't get it,
Listen to what he's saying to these young people. In the face of all the civil unrest, in the face of all the censorship, in the face of everything that's going on in this country, he's going to these young people, telling them not to protest non-violently, but to shut things down. To shut.
Right? This is Detroit HPTV at DeAndre Calloway. This is real name. I shared him before. 5.87 thousand subscribers. Come to his page, subscribe. I just found his page. I respect this man. It's right. He's breaking it down for you, right? He's taking it seriously, right? I'm seriously going to explain to you what Volothmp Hill is doing, right? I can't take him seriously because I can't take transgenderism seriously. I mean, I can't. Right? As soon as Mark Lamont Hill had that debate with Candace Owens, and he said, I know men that are pregnant with babies. I was like, oh, this nigga here. Right? Right? That's how you know he's an agent. Right? He's oh gosh. Him and the other MLH is Montero Lamar Hill. That's AKA Little Nas X. Right? They act like they're hip hop, but they're leftists. They get paid by the liberals, the white liberal, right? The white liberal that's waving the white flag of we surrender, right? We want peace, we want peace. But like he's showing you right here, he's agitating them to, if Trump wins, we're going to burn shit down, right? Because polls are showing, seriously, just like he's showing y'all, like he's explaining to y'all, and a lot of black men are explaining, like, yo, this Biden. I mean, if y'all don't get that this Bidenomics doesn't work because men like myself, him, there's a list of others, right? We can't. We're being kicked out of the corporations. Like, no, you can't work here. You have to find other forms of income. And we didn't have any startup money to start our own businesses. So we're trying to create our own businesses. But now what's the only way to create a business is to what? Present a proposal, a feasibility report to the banks in order to get funding to start the businesses when they hold all the proposals and what's the name and feasibility reports of the businesses and determine, well, your business isn't viable, so we're not going to give you the loan to start your business because your business might go against transgenderism, which shouldn't be taken seriously. Right? No, Detroit HP should be taken seriously. I should be taken seriously. I'm dealing with a 12-year-old son. That's one of the differences between me and this gentleman right here. I guess he's turning 60 soon, so he got me by like maybe 4 or 5 years, right? But he's also considered a Generation X baby. It's time for him to run for president of the United States. It's time for me to run for president of the United States, to be the leaders. But this is how they attacked us as black men. We find ourselves in our spaces, in our homes, and it's, I'm not feeling well today. Should I call the ambulance to come get me this? Right? Because my whole community is against me because I laugh at transgenderism. That's the reality that we're dealing with. That's the actual reality that you're living with.
What now? What power do they really have other than the power to provoke the powers that be through civil unrest and through the threat of violence? Listen to this man that claimed the fame is to be some type of leader in the black community. Look how he's agitating.
He's not invited to the cookout.
Now, I know a lot of people may like Lamont Hill, but clearly you can see what kind of bag he's coming out of. Listen to some more.
We don't get it. We don't get it. And that's what we doing right now. We shut it down. But see, the problem is the media will have you thinking that we are shutting it down in the spirit of hate. They lie on y'all. They smear y'all. They criminalize y'all. But we know better right here. We know better. This is not a march against Jewish people. This is not an anti-Semitic meetup. This is a principled struggle against Zionism. And don't let the media or anybody else have you think that when we say it's a principled struggle against Zionism, that we're talking about Judaism and that we're talking about Jewish traditions and Jewish cultures and Jewish rituals. No. We're talking about political Zionism. We are talking about the creation of a Jewish ethno-state in historic Palestine that dislocated and dispossessed indigenous Palestinian people, took their homes, took their land. That's all.
Even
The best gift to give yourself or mom on Mother's Day is better
There it
sleep.
is,
Shop
right?
Raymore and Flanagan now to save
if you believe what he's saying, why is he radicalizing these young American college students? Why is he provoking them in the face of this governmental overhandedness with the Constitution? What is he really doing? Clearly see through this man, because he's been doing this around the country at different college campuses. I want you to hear everything that he's telling these young people. These are young people. Now, I'm almost 60 years old, and clearly I know that he's taking them somewhere that they really don't want to go.
Nope.
He's taking them somewhere that the country really doesn't want to go.
Yep.
But why? Have you ever heard of somebody controlling their opposition to get to a certain point? He's making them so agitated that he will provoke them, and then that will provoke the powers that be. Why would he be doing this? He's an older man. He's older than these students. Continue to listen to what he's saying to these young people.
And come to his channel. All right. Like, subscribe, share. You know, he's doing a real good job presenting this information. I'm going to start doing more videos like this. But I like I say, I'd rather do it on game theory, right? Ideology rushes a game, and in that game, it has the different political ideologies, like communism, like pacifist. That's the one that my son gave, pacifism. Like, what? Seriously, anarchy is one of the political ideologies that it presents. I'll share more of that on this game too, but I also want to talk about Monopoly. I also want to talk about Risk, which are board games based on war, because all warfare is actually land, language, and law. Therein is where I start getting into game theory and the strategies that it takes to win the game. All right. So, but I'm talking about board games, video games. The one that me and my son will be working on today is we're going to talk about chess, and we're going to do a little bit of boxing. So I'm gonna have him box a little bit today, and I'm gonna have him do a little bit of box, and then chess. I'm having him introduce chess. We talked about how just to move one piece, the pawn. Let's learn how to move the pawn. What is the rules of being the pawn in the game? And then we'll, whatever one is presented today, we'll work with that one today, and then we'll work on that and slowly show him how to play chess and become a chess master. And I'm relearning, because it's been a while since I really played chess. Since shout out to Scoot G. We used to me, him, and Marv used to. Who else used to be us? Used to be 4 or 5 of us. Get a case of beer, drink some brews, and play chess together. almost 20 years ago. It's been a while since we did that. And it'd be cool to do it again, but this time I'll bring my son to beat all of y'all. So one thing at a time, though, and now I get back to, because I wanted to share one more, and that was Lex Friedman, and it was dealing with this Andre J. Carpathy, right? Now I'm sharing a little bit of this one because this guy is a artificial intelligence master, right? I'm saying, I'm being facetious, calling him that. When you don't have fatherhood in the community, which black people surely lack, right? I'm going to continuously share these prodigies, quote unquote prodigies, that they have in the white communities. We don't have that same, because our children's upbringing is based upon white fatherhood. All right, me and my son, like I'm saying, I'm teaching. One of the topics that I'm teaching my son is game theory. But along the way, I'm teaching him calculus and abstract algebra and all the different disciplines of mathematics. Mathematics is the beginning, but science, technology, engineering is the middle. Mathematics is the end. Mathematics is the alpha and omega when it comes to STEM. Right now, I'm letting him know that STEM comes from the soul. It comes from the truth. It comes from enlightenment, and it comes from morality. That's what's going to give my son a slight advantage over parents that don't practice mathematics with their children. Right. That's why I share Professor Akil Parker, because he makes his page, and I'll share his page like I'm doing these other pages one day too. Just give him some promotion as well. But I'm sharing this right here because this is next level right here, and me and my son sit here and we'll watch it, and just little bits. It's like, okay, there's the word right there, the objective line, or what do you say, the objective function or something like that is what Lex Friedman said. I shared a little bit yesterday. And as soon as I heard those two words put together, I was like, there it is right there. That's the line of code that determines what artificial intelligence is. And that's what they're going to explain in this little bit right here.
Why did no one tell Pennsylvania drivers about this new
commercials got to come off first.
If you're currently insured, drive.
Waste of my time.
But yeah, it's kind of hard to pick one. I think it's possible that physics has exploits and we should be trying to find them, arranging some kind of a crazy quantum mechanical system that somehow gives you.
This is Lex Friedman. Like I said, he got 3.94 million subscribers, right? I'm not subscribed. I might as well. All right, I subscribe to him. All right. I see it all the time because they know that I talk about artificial intelligence. That's why they share him all the time with me. It just automatically goes to him. He doesn't need any more subscribers, but I might as well subscribe to him because my beef isn't with him. He's going to do for his children what I'm trying to do for my son. It's just that my community doesn't economically back fatherhood and son because the liberal ideology, the leftist liberal ideology, like transgenderism, which is at the forefront of it, which is very, very hypocritical and, shouldn't be taken seriously, right? We already established that. Like, you shouldn't be I have to have a serious talk with my son about transgenderism. Like, that's idiotic to me, right? Instead, tell him the truth. YMCA started way back in the 1800s. And in 1975, they made a song being fruity. These dudes did, right? And that became the whole transgenderism movement. Keep it real with them. You know what I mean? None of those guys were molesters or anything like that, but they're trying to say that they were, and they're okay with that. It's actually what the LGBTQIA plus Black Lives Matter. That's how they got to be together in order to justify their being oppressed, because you have to link yourself to the main one, which was the African slave from the transatlantic slave trade, which really wasn't that populous of a movement. That's where people like myself is trying to let other people know, like, no, yes, there was millions of, or hundreds of thousands of slaves brought over on a slave boat, but there were already millions of Africans here before 1492. That's where foundational Black America kind of is telling a more true, righteous story of 1526, which is about to reach its 500th anniversary, and being the foundational Black America that we are today. But they want you to believe that all Black folks came over here on the slave boat, and that's not the truth. Black natives was here already. They want to say that Lex Fredman ancestor killed them all, and it's like, nah, that's not what happened. Then they came over, we befriended them, and yes, they betrayed us and took leadership. And yes, the American government profited off of that, to where we got the profits of all profits, right? I'm saying profits being, cash or gold or whatever you want to believe is the monetary, denomination most valuable, or diamonds, right? The cream, the cash ruling everything around me, right? When it's not. The truth is no, we helped to build it, we helped to boom, and we're still segregated, but we're still trying to build up the Black community. And yes, we're not doing as horrible as we was back in the day, but this high inflation isn't helping. Not having jobs, not having businesses isn't helping. Like, I'm trying to pass a business down to my son, not a job. We're more than a race, occupation, right? A religion. We're human beings, and we're not being, we're being treated unfairly, right? We try to say the same as being a cracker facetiously, but then that's when the leftism takes over, saying we're oppressed too because I'm actually transgender. The irony is hysterical. So play a little bit and then I'm out. Deal with y'all later.
Buffer overflow somehow gives you a rounding error in the floating point. Synthetic intelligences are kind of like the next stage of development. And I don't know where it leads to. Like, at some point, I suspect the universe is some kind of a puzzle. These synthetic AIs will uncover that puzzle and solve it.
The following is a conversation with Andre Karpathy. Previously.
So what he just said is he believes that artificial intelligence is going to solve the problem of knowing what God is. That's what he just said. You have to develop an ear to peep it. To peep what? Intelligent momentum. Hip hop.
The director of AI at Tesla, and before that at OpenAI and Stanford. He is one of the greatest scientists, engineers, and educators in the history of artificial intelligence. This is the Lex Fridman Podcast. To support it, please check out our sponsors. And now, dear friends, here's Andre Karpathy.
He's the GOAT. Just like I say, the Godfather's the GOAT. Muhammad Ali's the GOAT. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Kwame Ture, they the GOATs, right? I say that Karis, one of them are legends, right? But those are prophets. So he's a prophet of AI, is what the equivalence is. And as a prophet, he's saying he believes that AI is going to be able to solve the God equation.
What is a neural network, and why does it seem to do such a surprisingly good job of learning?
What is a neural network? It's a mathematical abstraction of the brain.
A mathematical abstraction of the brain.
I would say that's how it was originally developed. At the end of the day, it's a mathematical expression, and it's a fairly simple mathematical expression when you get down to it. It's basically a sequence of matrix multiplies, which are really dot products mathematically, and some nonlinearities thrown in. And so it's a very simple mathematical expression, and it's got knobs in it.
Many knobs.
Many knobs. And these knobs are loosely related to basically the synapses in your brain. They're trainable, they're modifiable. And so the idea is like we need to find the setting of the knobs that makes the neural net do whatever you want it to do, like classify images and so on. And so there's not too much mystery, I would say, in it. Like you might think that basically you don't want to endow it with too much meaning with respect to the brain and how it works. It's really just a complicated mathematical expression with knobs, and those knobs need a proper setting for it to do something desirable.
Yeah, but poetry is just a collection of letters with spaces, but it can make us feel a certain way. And in that same way, when you get a large number of knobs together, whether it's inside the brain or inside a computer, they seem to surprise us with their power.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So basically, I'm underselling it by a lot because you definitely do get very surprising emergent behaviors out of these neural nets when they're large enough and trained on complicated enough problems, like say, for example, the next word prediction in a massive data set from the internet. And then these neural nets take on pretty surprising magical properties. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting how much you can get out of even very simple mathematical formalism.
When your brain right now is talking, is it doing next word prediction? Or is it doing something more interesting?
Well, it's definitely some kind of a generative model that's a GPT-like and prompted by you.
Yes.
So you're giving me a prompt and I'm kind of like responding to it in a generative way.
And by yourself, perhaps a little bit? Like, are you adding extra prompts from your own memory inside your head?
Mm.
Or no?
Well, it definitely feels like you're referencing some kind of a declarative structure of like memory and so on. And then you're putting that together with your prompt and giving away some answers.
Like, how much of what you just said has been said by you before?
Nothing, basically, right?
No, but if you actually look at all the words you've ever said in your life and you do a search, you'll probably have said a lot of the same words in the same order before.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I'm using phrases that are common, etc., but I'm remixing it into a pretty sort of unique sentence at the end of the day. But you're right, definitely there's like a ton of remixing.
Why you didn't you it's like Magnus Carlsen said, I'm rated 2900 whatever, which is pretty decent. I think you're talking very you're not giving enough credit to neural nets here. Why do they seem to what's your best intuition about this emergent behavior?
I mean, it's kind of interesting because I'm simultaneously underselling them, but I also feel like there's an element to which I'm it's actually kind of incredible that you can get so much emergent magical behavior out of them, despite them being so simple mathematically. So I think those are kind of like two surprising statements that are kind of just juxtaposed together. And I think basically what it is we are actually fairly good at optimizing these neural nets. And when you give them a hard enough problem, they are forced to learn very interesting solutions in the optimization. And those solutions basically have these emergent properties that are very interesting.
There's wisdom and knowledge in the knobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yes.
This representation that's in the knobs, does it make sense to you intuitively that a large number of knobs can hold a representation that captures some deep wisdom about the data it has looked at? It's a lot of knobs.
It's a lot of knobs. And somehow, so speaking concretely,
playing from Charles'
one of the neural nets that people are very excited about right now are GPTs, which are basically just next word prediction networks. So you consume a sequence of words from the internet and you try to predict the next word. And once you train these on a large enough data set, you can basically prompt these neural nets in arbitrary ways and you can ask them to solve problems and they will. So you can just tell them, you can make it look like you're trying to solve some kind of a mathematical problem, and they will continue what they think is the solution based on what they've seen on the internet. And very often those solutions look very remarkably consistent, look correct potentially even.
That's all you needed, right? You had to take a lot of notes to get all that in, right? And that's what I started with, right? I was talking about the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake battle, right? So I did hear the Kendrick Lamar response, and it was dope. I mean, it was classic Ether, right? There's a difference between Ether and Jay, what Jay dropped. There's a difference between like Tupac and Biggie. Like you don't know where Biggie actually dissed Tupac, because Biggie was talking generally to whoever wanted to attack him. That's how lyrically dope Biggie was. That's how lyrically dope KRS One is. I shared KRS One's response to their beef, and you don't know if he was talking about Tupac or Biggie. He might have been talking. He was actually talking about both of them, right? And that was just before Tupac got murdered. It was called the automatic, right? When you was home with your mother, afraid of the dark, I was sleeping out in Prospect Park, eating one meal every 48 hours, writing dope rhyme styles that you now devour, right? The only reason why I was saying that it was more like I think it was aimed at Tupac is because he mentions a bomber suit and he was kind of missing juice. Oh, fake rapper, you think you got juice? Like he says that in there too. So that's what made me think he was talking about Tupac right there, because Tupac got famous off of juice, you know. And he was probably wearing a bomber, being in New York and everything. He's saying, like, you know, you from New York, and now you acting like you West Coast and you ain't down with us, you know what I mean? And while you was doing that, I was sleeping out in Prospect Park, writing dope rhyme styles that you now devour, because you was still home with your mama. Right? That's ill lyricism. And that's kind of what Kendrick is doing. He's doing a double entendre. So yes, he is making a slight fun at Drake's mother, calling her black, right? And that's where Royce White kind of took it the wrong way, I guess, because Royce was growing up, he was questioned, his blackness was questioned because his mother was white. And I know a lot of biracial, quote unquote, biracial children that go through that, even in my own family. I have a lot of biracial cousins, and they don't, they'll come check me a little bit, but then it's like when I start explaining it, they're like, yeah, you know something, I took it the wrong way, because it is disrespectful calling their mothers black, or their father's black. But that's not what the case is with my immediate family. It's usually the mother that's white, and it's not hate towards her. That's why we kind of worded that way, as a double entendre, right? Like it's okay to be white. It's not a problem with it, right? That's what I'm making fun with right now. You are not a cracker. You are a human being. Right? In my break a cracker in two halves, you still got a cracker, right? It's just two pieces, it's the same cracker, right? But so the offspring being biracial is black and white, to be honest, but we want to believe that that's a contradiction. That's the goal, is to prove that black and white is the contradiction. And that's the war that they pushing on us. That's what Mark Lamont Hill is coaching them to. Of course, he's not saying, biracial children are not black, but he's trying to say that they're not white, because he's trying to point at the enemy, which is racism in the form called white supremacy, which is a psychological ideology, right? When it gets to be a philosophical ideology, that's when you get into the white Jesus and black people having to wake up and realize that no, that can't be a true representation of what Jesus looked like. He didn't look like the oppressor Roman. Like, he had to have a little darker shade, because even in that there is a prejudice between the darker and light skin. In that original Godfather clip that I shared with the heads of the 5 families coming together because Vito Corleone wanted to stop the war, and the one guy stood up and said, "I don't want drugs sold to my family. I don't want it sold to children." Right? He started putting demands, and then he told the truth. Just sell it to the darkies and the colored. So he's actually including some of his own people in either being being colored, because that's the conflict between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. That's the conflict that they wanted us to have between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. That's the goal. It's no, one of y'all have to join sides with the quote unquote the enemy, and the enemy is the one that's come together to unite, to follow me to the anarchy. And it's like, dude, that ain't the culture, fam. Hip hop was, we performed our culture. We were breakdancing and looping to James Brown's tracks, right? And then the Puerto Ricans seen us, and 1 or 2 of the Puerto Ricans would come over and breakdance with us, right? The Jamaicans would see us, and 1, 2 of the Jamaicans would come over and right, and they start pointing us, calling, "Yo, y'all stealing our people. Y'all are hip hoppers," right? When we were the multicultural religion that we are today, right? Now everybody wants to claim it, and they want to claim that it's the LGBTQIA plus Black Lives Matter. No, that's a political ideology. That's not hip hop. Transgenderism? No, that's not hip hop. That's a political ideology too. It's Biden trying to unite us, not to be Catholicism, trying to unite us to vote for him so that he can continue this globalist agenda. Where you can go anywhere in the world that you want to go, right? Like, war isn't over land, language, and law. That's the heart of all wars. This is our land. This is the language that we speak. And that Constitution is supposed to be our law, but it doesn't supersede the 10 Commandments or the Bible or even the Quran for that matter. But he's trying his best to make it seem like it should supersede those things. That's what Biden is doing. And then acting like, you're at fault. That's why when I look in the mirror, I know I'm not at fault. I thank God for another new day. And I go enjoy it. And that's what I'm about to go do. Enjoy the rest of my day. I'll be back at maybe 6:30, and then 7, we're going to do our normal live stream with the boy. And then I think I'm going to come in right after that again around 8 o'clock and either like he'll box or play chess on one, and then he'll box on the other one. And I don't know, I might do both. I might start at 6 o'clock. I don't know, see what I can get done. But I'm just going to pop in, and they're going to be like little 15-minute sessions. Whereas this, I wanted to get it all across and let y'all know, I probably won't do another one of these for a couple days. I do want to do like a scheduled thing where I can do a live stream for 30 minutes and keep it moving, where I'm teaching the culture. But the game plan is to eventually get to actually giving lessons on game theory, which will help you make better decisions in life. So, but yeah, that Freeman, I just wanted to share that because that right there was enough information to pinpoint with, like, that's the end goal, is to be able to have that kind of conversation with anyone that follows in talking about artificial intelligence and what it really truly is capable of, and what is it based upon. It is based upon tautological epistemologies. That's why I'm starting with the first tautology, to be or not to be. That's the first tautology. True or false? Yes or no? You ask that to artificial intelligence, what does it do? Does it just flip a coin? Does it just randomize the answer? Or does it think about its own knowledge in the mind, honesty in the heart, strength of its body, which it doesn't have, right? There it is right there, right? I had fun doing this one. And I did it for an hour and a half for y'all. Like I could have did 2 hours, yeah. But that's enough. That should keep y'all satisfied for a couple of weeks. I'll be back because I just want to share, a little bit more. I love doing that Grand Theft Auto pacifism. That's funny to me. Like, just whistling, walking down the street, and then the gang member want to fight you or kill you, right? And it's like, no, sir, no, we don't want to fight. We don't, fellas, calm down. And then I had to plank the screen to really get my point across to them. But I'm gonna have fun doing that. Like that's one of my shows. Don't nobody bite it. All right. I know y'all are, but it is what it is. Right. This was fun. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. I think I'm just gonna end it on that note. I was trying to go all the way to 1:30, hour and 30 minutes. But that's good enough. I got my point across, I think. And I'll be back later on today with the boy. The preteen adolescent, soon to be teenager soon. Whoa! Happy birthday to DJ again. Shout out to Nene. Wabi, I'm gonna work on that computer today and shit, see if we can get back online and live stream us fighting dragons on Final Fantasy. Like I shared a little bit of Final Fantasy 12. I might share a little bit of that later on here. And that way we can have more fun, But I'll talk to y'all later. One, God, that is our Father, art of time, heaven, your whore.